Well, this is the thing that, this wave it's always not this wave, every wave is going to be selective for value. So if you are doing things that add significant value to businesses, then you can expect to be paid for that. And if you're doing things where the value is unclear, then you can expect not to be paid for that. And that's a very black and white way of saying capitalism, right?
Yeah.
But that's the situation. And I think a lot of folks are unclear about what the value is. I think the stuff around the World Economic Forum and the prediction around jobs and that AI won't take jobs because it will create more jobs than it takes. I think that's a little bit fallacious because as you're describing, you have new jobs, but those new jobs over time are going to require a higher skill set, more investment of time, trouble, and money to get to a particular point, while at the same time offering less in terms of salary and wage. And it doesn't have to be just salary and wage. It could be, this used to be a permanent salaried position with pension and all of this, and now it's a contracting position, a 0 hours position, 35 here and there. So there are all of these nuances, which mean that actually we're getting less security in the job market. All of these things, I think, come together, but the burden of skills on people being able to reach for this role that previously they couldn't do, that's to me very unclear.
I think that's spot on. And I've got a deep interest in AI, partly because I just need to get some answers for myself. I'm a small business owner. You will be. It helps. It's helpful. But what I've been doing a lot of personally is reading books. Audio books typically, and watching YouTube videos, because YouTube videos, you start to get, there are a few names that keep cropping up, right? And some of those names like Dario Amodei or Elon Musk or Ilya Sutskever or Sam Altman, all the same group of people. If you go onto YouTube and listen to what certainly Dario and Elon Musk and Eric Schmidt and various others are saying, is they've kind of told us what's going to happen. There is going to be a very significant decrease and instability with jobs generally. And there's going to be a fantastic future, but no one's entirely sure what happens in that interim period or how long that's going to last. What's your thoughts on that, Ash? Do you think are you more in the kind of warning Dario Amodei camp, or are you more in the kind of optimistic Sam Altman camp?
It depends what you mean by optimistic. I think we're in a almost dystopian utopia where we have the potential for machines, broadly speaking, whether it's robotics or artificial intelligence, but we have the potential for all of this stuff to make our lives infinitely better. What we don't have is an economic model to ensure that people can survive.
Yeah.
And these are different things. And I think the difference between a reference to the World Economic Forum earlier, these kinds of predictions of jobs, the difference is they look at the current capabilities of AI and they say, what jobs are going to be affected and how will they change? With these tech guys, they're telling you, and they're hiding in plain sight, and I'll do the same thing because I work in this space and I do things. And what they're telling you is we're working towards these specific things that will have an impact on you guys. I'm doing it as well, working with businesses, and I'm working to optimize what they do with agentic capability. What does that mean? It means that at some point, certain activities and tasks are no longer required to be done by people. It's a business decision then. I've said this a few times on different podcasts and events, but if you've got a team of 10 people and each of them you can automate 80% of what they do, it's ridiculous to say there won't be an effect on jobs. You're going to just pay people to look out the window and have profound thoughts. It's not going to happen. Businesses don't work like that. So there's this kind of thing that's going to happen. Short term, medium term, long term, I think we'll find a way to cope. But short term, there are going to be, and there already are, let's face it, swinging job cuts. I don't know how longer term we'll find different things that people need to do in the workplace, and there'll probably be a dip and then we'll go back up. But I think there's a time-based element to this as well. Are you seeing something like that?
I think I'm a little bit more, I'm optimistic in the sense of, I think in something like learning and development, which I'm interested in, I think we're going to see a shift. I think it's going to be more in real life or face-to-face training. I think there is going to be more face-to-face coaching, personalized, high value learning, people engagement. There's probably going to be less digital learning, or if not less digital learning, it's just going to be far cheaper, far faster, far easier to create learning assets, and potentially learning pivots more into that performance consulting piece, in which case there's going to be a deeper, closer relationship with technology. But in other spaces, generalist roles, coordination, simple task-based jobs, you can see that it's going to make far more sense for AI technologies to do those in the short term, relative short term. And then what we might see, which will be very, very unfortunate, is large cuts all at the same time. Just like we've seen in tech. And it's ironic, isn't it, that Microsoft and Google and all these others kind of magnificent seven, they're dumping people, not Microsoft, another 9,000 people. And it's not like, I say dumping people, that sounds it feels like it when you take large numbers, thousands of employees, and just put them all on the open market at the same time. It's not going to be pleasant. And so, I don't know, there might be a bit of a backlash. Elon Musk says we should all have universal basic income anyway, Ash, and you're the AI expert. So how long before we all get some free money and don't have to work anyway?
It depends on the value creation. I think, I'm not pointing at L&D, but we know this is a slow market, right? The LMS should have been dead 15 years ago and it's still around. And it's a market that moves so slowly that it's going to be prohibitive to say, we have enough value, economic value creation from this kind of thing to justify that we have enough money in the coffers to pay everybody to stay at home.
Yeah.
And it's the same for other industries as well. I'm not just talking about L&D, I'm talking about many other industries where you say we have a hesitance to change. Until we change, we're not going to accelerate the value creation. We're not going to accelerate the creation of money and energy and resources, because let's face it, we live in a scarcity model of society where things are scarce, so we have competition and we have prices and all of this stuff. If everything was abundant, then we wouldn't have these pressures. There's this kind of thing to think about as well. I think that a lot of these companies are laying off folks. Yes, they are. They're doing it, and they're going to keep doing it, because why wouldn't they, right? It's a thing that big businesses do.
Yeah, and then they reverse course when things change, don't they? So it's just a question of how quickly or whether that happens. But there are things that you can do, that individuals can do to increase their own knowledge and awareness and prepare, I guess. And generally speaking, just anecdotally as a recruiter, you're in it, you see it, you're going to see it more for obvious reasons. People that find themselves on the job market either through redundancy or completion of a contract and or even voluntary redundancy or settlement, these people are probably going to be shocked when they look at the job market as it is at the moment. Yeah. But then there's a whole swathe, the vast majority, more than 97% of jobs that haven't been cut, that haven't been affected. So you then wonder how many people in that space are attuned to what could happen. And is there any preparation being done or thought really being put into, well, what if? And I don't know. I'm not sure what those numbers would look like.